Okay, so yeah, this is a work that I have done with my colleagues Sébastien Enault, who is doing a PhD at the University Montpellier in France, Guillaume, which is currently doing a postdoc at the Natural History Museum in Geneva, and Koot, who did their PhD at Leeds University. So, what do we really know about enameloid microstructure? Maybe I should start to give you a short history about what we used to do with this enameloid microstructure. It was considered to be very, very simple in some way. You had two main types of enameloid, what we call the single crystallite enameloid, which is made of small crystallite, not more than 1 micron in length, randomly orientated, and making just one layer, making the whole of the enameloid covering the tooth. And then you have the neo-Selacian triple-layered enameloid, which was much more complicated. You had the shiny layered enameloid, which is actually more or less the same as a single crystallite enameloid. But then below, you had the parallel bundled enameloid, where the crystallite makes bundles parallel to each other and parallel to the axis of the tooth. And then you had an internal layer, which was made of bundles again, but interwoven bundles without any preferential orientation. So that was very, very nice because it was considered that this triple-layered enameloid was a homomorphy of the neo-Selacian, and you just needed to etch the surface of the tooth with hydrochloric acid. You will see these bundles, and if you had any doubt whether you were looking at some primitive neo-Selacians or very derived Enameloid, for example, you could make easily the difference. And actually, that made a very, very nice, thank you, a very nice story, maybe too good to be true, actually. On a very simplified shark phylogeny, you had something like that. You have the xenacantiform shark, which were thought to have no enameloid. Then you have the xenacantiform, evocantiform, and the batomorph, where you have a single-layered enameloid. And then in red, and only in the modern sharks, the selachimorph, you have the triple-layered enameloid. So that makes the triple-layered enameloid something that was really an apomorphy of these derived neo-Selacian sharks, and that appeared quite late in the history of the sharks. Now, thank you. Yeah. Now we have a number of problems now with that. The first one, when you are looking at the typical ivolontiform teeth, like for example Acrodus here, you can see that maybe we were a bit too quick to say that that was a single crystallite enameloid. Okay, there is a thick layer where you have only single crystallite without any preferential orientation. But then if you see what's happening in the lower part, actually they tend to form very short bundles, but still you have something here which is a bundled enameloid. So it seems that this bundled enameloid is absolutely not characteristic of only the neo-Selacians. Actually, when you are looking to the real single crystallite enameloid among Ivolont, you find it mostly in teeth with a very high crown, with a tearing or maybe a cutting function. Here you have, for example, a Thyodos roche from the action of Thailand. You can see that there is no real bundles which are formed here, and it's a Prioigodus arangogi from the action of Tunisia. It's even clearer, but here you only have single crystallite, there is no bundles. So basically, first problem, the bundled enameloid existed in the Ivolont before the neo-Selacians. Next one, please. Now, here we have the teeth of Palaeontological, which is one of the oldest batomorph known in the fossil record. And when I found some of these teeth in Thailand, I looked at the enameloid microstructure. Next one. And I was very happy because I was finding only the single crystallite enameloid, which is supposed to be characteristic of these batomorphs. But then Sébastien took some other teeth from Palaeontological, and then you can see that when you are looking at the teeth in the section, you can see here these bundles again. So again, a bundled enameloid was also present into the battlemorph. Something which is very interesting here is most of the time, as we were only trying to look at whether we had some kind of Neoselacian teeth or not, we were mainly making surface etching. And just looking at the surface, if we saw bundle, you say, okay, Neoselacian, you don't see bundle, that's a single crystalline Enameloid. Sébastien here made it very clear that actually we need to have both surface etching, but also to make section of the teeth to really have a real idea of this structure of this Enameloid. And there is a bias here, which is toward the kind of method that you are using to study the Enameloid. And then we got into a real trouble, thanks to Guillaume and his collaborators, when he started to find actually this parallel bundled Enameloid, not in Neoselacian shark at all, but in tenacontiform that he found in the Cretaceous of France together with some simoriform. So here you have just some illustration of what these sharks could look like. And Guillaume checked the structure of these, at least the tenacontiform teeth, on the teeth from the Permian. And again, he always found this kind of bundle parallel Enameloid, which is a bit different probably from what you have in the Neoselacian sharks because the structure is a bit looser. And again, thank you very much, things are simply not as simple as we thought, because at the same time as Guillaume was actually publishing his material, with Martha Koot, we were looking at the microstructure of another tenacont shark, Gilles from the Permian of Oman. And of course, what we found was completely different, because here you clearly have a single crystallite Enameloid with no bundles whatsoever, and only these Enameloid which are randomly orientated. Now, it is beyond doubt that Guillaume and his collaborators clearly established the presence of parallel bundled Enameloid in these Neosynodus tenacon from the Permian of the United States. So that indicates that there is a great variability of microstructure among all these tenacon teeth. And again, we don't have a very simple pattern here. Thank you. So, if we try to see what's happening, we thought that this bundled Enameloid, the triple-layered Enameloid, was found only in the Neoselacians. Then we started to find it as well in the Ibodont. We have it definitely in the tenacontiform, and we might have it in the simoriform. The problem with the simoriform right now is we have this structure only in teeth that has been found in the Cretaceous. So, of course, it needs to be checked with more typical Paleozoic sharks. But all in all, this bundled Enameloid is more widespread than usually thought, and probably appeared among Chondrichthyans way before the Neoselacians. That is something which is very important, because we were thinking that this bundled Enameloid was something that appeared very late in the history of this of the Chondrichthyans. Here we have something which is getting closer actually to the base of the tree. And thank you. But I'm not saying that we cannot recognize Neoselacian sharks based on this on the microstructure of the Enameloid, because the Neoselacian microstructure is still very, very special. I mean, you can see that you have this bundled parallel Enameloid with a very, very tightly set bundles parallel to the axis of the tooth, and in between you can see that you have a set of radial bundles that so far we did not find in any other sharks. Next one, please. And then you can see here, which is a transverse section, you can see this Enameloid, which is made of these bundled, these parallel bundles, which are actually now perpendicular to a screen. The radial bundles, which is going through this parallel bundled Enameloid, and of course at the base in contact with dentin, you are losing preferential orientation, and then you are making this tangled bundled enameloid. So here, what you have, the so-called triple-layered enameloid, is mostly a bundled enameloid, but with a very complex structure. Next one, please. And then things are getting very interesting because we knew, that you can find some bundled enameloid in some actinopterygian fish. Worth Ernst Reif in 1974 already demonstrated that with some Characidae. But as we thought that the bundled enameloid was something that appeared very late in the history of sharks, it was thought that it was some kind of convergence between the chondrichthyon and the actinopterygians. Here you can see also that this bundled enameloid in fish. Here you have a Bergeria type. I'm saying Bergeria type because these teeth are from the Russian, the latest Triassic of Europe, and Bergeria has disappeared at that time. So based on the isolated teeth, it's a bit too much to call it Bergeria. But it doesn't matter because you can see the microstructure, and you can see here that the microstructure is again quite complicated with bundles which are orientated perpendicularly to each other. So again, a different arrangement than what you can see in most shark teeth. So basically, we have the appearance of a bundled enameloid much earlier than what we thought inside this chondrichthyon lineage. We know that we have a bundled enameloid in the Osteichthyon, at least in the actinopterygians. And that, of course, might suggest that this bundled enameloid is absolutely not something which is derived, but on the contrary, it could be something which is very plesiomorphic for fish. And it could actually appear before the separation between the chondrichthyon and the Osteichthyons. The problem, of course, is the solution of this problem is probably within the Acontodians, which are polyphyletic, paraphyletic, monophyletic. We are moving from one branch to another. They're in a state of flux right now, but their teeth, when they have teeth, because of course, this is the key taxa for us to understand the evolution of the enameloid microstructure, but these Acontodians have this problem that most of the time they don't have teeth, which is really a pity. But if we can find this bundled enameloid, then we will be able to decipher really the evolution of this tissue. But very clearly, that was absolutely not what we thought until recently. So in conclusion, the concept of a triple-layered enameloid is completely misleading. It's not 3 different layers, it's mostly 2 layers. It is made of 2 main units. An external single chrysolite enameloid, which is more or less developed. You can see that it is very reduced in the Selatimorph shark. It can be very well developed in Igodon sharks. And then you have an internal bundled chrysolite enameloid, which is more or less complex, with bundles which could be parallel to the axis of the tooth, with bundles which could be interwoven, or bundles that could be radial to a tooth, or sometimes which are completely absent. So this enameloid, possessing at least 1 layer made of parallel bundles, is no longer a characteristic of Neosalacian sharks. It has been found in numerous sharks as well as actinopterygian fishes. And whether it represents a convergence, which could be easily explained by its mechanical resistance to tensile stress. I mean, for any kind of predatory teeth, such a parallel bundled enameloid is a mechanical advantage, definitely. Or if it is a plesiomorphy, which is shared by both the cartilaginous and the bony fishes, is currently difficult to decide. So basically what we need to do now is we need to do more studies on the enameloid microstructure of stem chondrichthyans and stem actinopterygians, including Acontodians. But so far, the work has been done too often on the Mesozoic and Cenozoic teeth. We need to put much more effort into a study on the Paleozoic teeth. So please, if you have any Paleozoic teeth, give it a try with a scanning electron microscope. It's really very easy. Thank you very much for your attention.